What are some things that you can do to avoid Zoom burnout? I'm gonna do something really painful. I'm going to share the screen time report of the amount of time that I spend on a screen every week. In this video, I'm also gonna unpack 6 methods and strategies that I have personally found to be most effective at avoiding burnout on Zoom or just in general with screen time, because it matters a lot, especially as we work more and more remotely. We've got to be tuned into what fills up our cup and what depletes it. And in this video, by the end of it, you are going to know my 6 best strategies for avoiding Zoom burnout for yourself. I'm Chad Littlefield. Let's get into it. Before I get up close and personal and share my screen time report that's just gonna be vulnerably painful to acknowledge in public, I would love for you, in whatever way you typically take notes, and maybe it's just a sticky note, get one note and write down at least one of these ideas that I'm gonna share and commit to experimenting with it. Because some of them are really quick, but have a pretty profound difference and shift. Okay, so getting up close and personal, this week already, I'm filming on a Wednesday. I'm already 10 hours in, average of 5 hours a day. Last week, 37 hours, where's that? 37 hours and 15 minutes of screen time. Part of the inspiration for actually filming this video was an awesome comment, which we'll put up here flash up here if you wanna pause and read the whole thing, from Marie. I like to turn YouTube comments and questions into future videos. You'll notice that almost all the videos that I put out, the title of them is a question that somebody has actually asked, and I'm offering some thoughts and some answers to it. And so in particular, the part from this comment that I really appreciate is if I had any tips for participants in dead boring Zoom meetings to help change the vibe of the room when you can tell that people have totally tuned out, to help make it more efficient, or at least to wake people up. And so in addition to avoiding Zoom burnout, these strategies are also really good for kind of like creating an attention reset in your own Zoom meetings, workshops, presentations, classes, whatever context you are in. Strategy number 1 is going into podcast mode. And when you're in podcast mode, something different is activated in people's brains, right? The way that we interpret voice separated from visual is different than how we consume video or live meeting or in-person time as well. And so what podcast mode actually looks like in reality is, in the middle of your meeting, invite everybody to kill their video. Shut their videos off, and you might keep your video on just for a minute, but then you might even shut your video off. And you might get closer to your mic so that the audio sounds different. And that immediately is an attention reset when tone changes. When all of a sudden, whispering happens, kids start to pay way more attention. Whereas when you're really intense about something, you're really passionate, or you're kind of just laid back, all of those intonations change the way that people listen, and avoid the monotony of just kind of keeping going at this terribly monotonous pace. Podcast mode is super helpful. You can do it if you want to share a little piece of content. You can do it for connection before content. You can literally do it for 2 minutes in the beginning to invite everybody to stretch and meditate for 1 minute each, and just come back, turn on their videos a little bit more present and physically limber. Number 2, this idea was given to me from a friend, Amy Clymer, who got it from an optometrist or an ophthalmologist. I don't remember which is which. Somebody who knows a lot about the eye. It's called the 20-20-20 rule. And what they recognized was, whoa, screen time, we are spending our whole day staring at a screen 20 inches away for lengths of time greater than 20 minutes. That's not good. And so the idea is, and I think I kind of adapted this rule a little bit, I might have added a 20 to it, but the idea is that at least every 20 minutes, you take at least 20 seconds to look at something that's at least 20 feet away. The concept here is that we are currently operating with the world's most amazing camera autofocus device, 2 of them in our head, and we use them 90% of the time to stare at something that it's 20 inches away. That's a really great way to let a muscle atrophy, right? If you sit on the couch like this for long periods of time, your muscles will just like disappear. It's the reason astronauts need to do lots of workout. There is no gravity, there is no friction. So the same idea. Take breaks to look away from the screen, look at things at different depths, look around, walk outside, breathe some air. Super useful, and doing that regularly. I do also have a hard and fast rule. I actually set a timer on Google. If I'm ever gonna be with a group virtually longer than 60 minutes, I have a timer audibly go off to remind us to get the heck away from the screen, get out of our virtual Zoom jail cell and go experience some part of the physical reality, not digital reality. And that just kind of helps ground us and remind us like, whoa, like the whole world doesn't exist in the screen. There's stuff outside, like touch your refrigerator and realize you're not made of pixels. Like all of that is, I know it seems kind of silly, but it actually is really helpful in guiding people toward more intentional digital time. Number 3, I'm gonna move a little bit quicker. I was on a meeting. I'm gonna call this one, it's a strategy, PT with Will. My co-founder Will and I, we're on a meeting and he was like, hey, I'm gonna do some, he's doing some physical therapy right now. He's like, I'm gonna do some physical therapy while we're talking. And so we're sitting there, and it was like, kind of got ridiculous. We started like moving all over the place, doing things, stretching, and we just PT with Will. That was our aim. And there was something actually really useful about that. I wouldn't do this with all teams. I wouldn't do it with a brand new group. I wouldn't do it on a client call where you're meeting them for the first time. But I would invite you to build movement in. Even though it feels a little bit forced or a little bit cheeky, the majority of your group will thank you for it after they sit back down, right? Even now, like, my heart rate is a little bit increased. There's more blood getting to my brain. All of that is really good for being present and not being burnt out. Number 4, best way to avoid Zoom burnout, don't be on Zoom. Take a walking meeting. Meet over the phone. Just because you can meet via video doesn't mean you always should meet via video. And so feel free to, I think the phones, let's test it real quick, but I'm pretty sure that phones, yeah, they still have a dial pad. You can actually type in someone's phone number and call them and go on a little bit of a walking meeting together. And that is a really lovely way to change your state for the next Zoom meeting. So if you've got a Zoom meeting, maybe then you take a walking meeting, then you take a Zoom meeting. And the cool thing is, if you realize like after the fact, you wake up on a Thursday and you've got 5 Zoom meetings back to back, you can be on Zoom for 1 minute and say, hey, do you wanna do a walking meeting or just a phone meeting so that you can, if you don't wanna walk, you can just lay down on the couch. This happened actually once. I was working with a client in North Dakota and I was like, wanna go on a walking meeting? And they're like, it's negative 20 degrees outside. I was like, okay. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a walking meeting. I'm gonna put on a coat. You just stay inside, and if you wanna pace around your house, that works. The idea is that we just get away from that 3-foot box that we feel, for some odd reason, locked to when we work remotely. Number 5, I actually stole from Airbnb. I don't know if they're still doing this, but as of 2 years ago, Airbnb had a company-wide policy that was no meeting Wednesdays. Just no meetings on Wednesdays. That's it. Really simple rule. Harder to keep in practice when you want to get stuff done or you feel like you need a meeting. Really great rule to build in if you want to avoid Zoom burnout and just burnout in general. Carve out a day or even a half a day if you're not willing to commit to the full, even a half a day where no one in the organization is, I shouldn't say allowed or permitted, but no one is encouraged to schedule meetings. In fact, they're encouraged to keep that time completely blocked. And it's pretty easy to do. You're in an all-staff meeting, you just say, hey, everybody, put a block on your calendar from this time to this time and don't schedule with anybody else. And if somebody tries to schedule with you, lovingly say, no, I'm booked. And that simple thing, just creating that time. There's a book, I'm forgetting the author's name, called From Boredom to Brilliance. This idea of actually just carving out time where we're not constantly having things on the calendar is actually really useful. Like creating a little bit of unstructured time often leads to some really brilliant work results. Personally, I block off Fridays typically for filming these videos. Strategy number 6 is to employ robots to enforce your good habits. Meaning, I've got a Calendly. When somebody wants to schedule with me, I send them a link to this thing called Calendly, which you might have heard of or you might have booked in with me on. I have the back-end settings set so that no one can book meetings in before 10 a.m. because that's my most productive, most focused time. And I have the system set to prevent anybody from booking in meetings after 3 p.m., which is my most productive family time. And do I keep to those 100% of the time? No. Sometimes I bend and I'm like, all right, I need to facilitate a workshop for this client because they're having this all-day conference. I'm gonna meet them at 8 a.m. right where they're at, sure. But I don't have an 8 a.m. meeting every single day because that time is blocked off. And so I just outsource my good habits to a robot who's not gonna let anybody else in on those times. And that has been really, really helpful. It keeps my meeting time structured right in here. I can get focused work done here. I can end the party while it's still fun by, even if I choose to work past 3 p.m., I'm not meeting past 3 p.m. So people are not only getting the best version of me, but so is my wife and son, and so is my work that needs a lot of attention and focus time. And number 7 is in the next video, where I unpack actually 7 do's and don'ts of virtual meetings. So those are all things kind of outside of meetings. This video unpacks 7 things that you should do in virtual meetings, best practices, and 7 things to avoid. And that video will help breathe a whole heap of life into your actual Zoom meetings. I'm Chad Littlefield. It was lovely hanging out in cyberspace. Have an awesome day.